welcome to today's podcast. I'm so excited to have you here with me as we talk about a topic that many English learners wonder about: how to learn English effortlessly. If you've ever felt like learning English is too hard or that it takes too much time, then this podcast is just for you. First, let me introduce myself. I'm Jason, and I've been helping people just like you learn English in a way that's easy, natural, and enjoyable over the years. I've seen how many students get frustrated with traditional methods, and they often feel like they're not improving as quickly as they'd like. But the truth is, learning English doesn't have to be a struggle. It doesn't have to feel like a big challenge every day. In fact, learning English can be simple, fun, and yes, effortless. Now you might be asking, how can learning English be effortless? Well, let me tell you that it's all about changing the way you approach learning. You don't need to study for hours every day or memorize long lists of vocabulary. Instead, you can start making small changes to how you practice English that will help you improve naturally without feeling stressed or overwhelmed. In this podcast, I'm going to share with you some simple and practical tips that you can start using right away, whether you're just starting to learn English or you've been practicing for a while. These tips will help you practice speaking and listening in a way that fits into your everyday life. You'll learn how to immerse yourself in English, make listening and speaking a daily habit, and most importantly, keep your learning fun and motivating. I want you to remember one thing: you are already capable of learning English, and you don't have to do it the hard way. The key is to approach it with patience, consistency, and a positive mindset. In today's episode, we'll explore how to make English learning a part of your life in a way that feels easy and enjoyable. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into the world of effort English learning together, understanding the concept of effortless learning. Before we dive into the methods that make learning English easier, let's first talk about what we really mean by effortless learning. You might be thinking, is it really possible to learn something as complex as English without feeling like it's hard work? The answer is yes, and here's why. When we think of learning, we often imagine sitting at a desk memorizing vocabulary and going through endless grammar rules. We may picture ourselves studying for hours, feeling stressed, and constantly worrying if we're making progress. But this traditional way of learning isn't always the most effective, especially when it comes to learning a language like English. Instead of thinking of learning as something that requires intense effort and frustration, think of it as something natural and fun. This is what we mean by effortless learning. Effortless learning is about removing the pressure and stress that often come with learning a language. It's about using methods that feel easy, enjoyable, and even relaxing. Imagine that instead of forcing yourself to study for hours or feeling anxious about making mistakes, you are learning English by simply living in it. This might sound too good to be true, but it's not. In fact, it's something that many successful language learners do. Here's how you can start to think about learning English as something that feels effortless. Shift your mindset. The first step to effortless learning is changing the way you think about learning itself. Many learners have the belief that they need to work extremely hard or that they have to memorize everything to succeed. But learning doesn't have to be a struggle. If you approach English with a positive mindset, focusing on progress rather than perfection, you'll start to enjoy the process. The less pressure you put on yourself, the more natural your learning will feel. Learn through experience, not memorization. One of the biggest mistakes people make when learning English is focusing too much on memorizing words and grammar rules. Yes, vocabulary and grammar are important, but they shouldn't be the only focus. Instead, try learning English through real experiences. This means listening to podcasts, watching TV shows, reading books, and having conversations in English. When you're exposed to English in real situations, you start to understand it naturally without having to memorize everything. For example, think about how you learned your first language as a child. You didn't sit down and study grammar rules or memorize vocabulary lists you learn by listening to your family, watching TV, and playing with friends. The more you were exposed to the language, the better you got at speaking and understanding it. This is the same idea for learning English. The more you surround yourself with English, the easier it will be to pick it up. Make learning part of your daily life. Effortless learning happens when you make English a part of your everyday routine. Instead of setting aside hours for study time, you can incorporate English into the activities you already do. This might mean listening to an English podcast while commuting, watching your favorite movies with English subtitles, or even changing the language settings on your phone or social media accounts to English. These small changes add up over time and help you get more comfortable with the language. Focus on listening and speaking. A common challenge for many learners is speaking English fluently. We often feel nervous about making mistakes, so we avoid speaking. However, one of the easiest ways to learn English effortlessly is by focusing on listening and speaking. Why? Because these are the most natural ways we learn languages in the first place. When you listen to English regularly, you start to pick up on new words, phrases, and sentence structures. Similarly, when you practice speaking, you start using the words you've heard in real conversations. Don't worry about being perfect. The goal is to get comfortable with the language. As you listen more and speak more, you'll notice that it starts to feel easier and more natural. Celebrate small wins. Learning English effortlessly is not about achieving perfection right away. It's about making small, steady progress over time. Celebrate every little victory, whether it's understanding a new word, completing a simple conversation, or watching a movie without needing subtitles. When you focus on these small wins, you'll stay motivated and continue to improve without feeling overwhelmed. Consistency over intensity. One key to effortless learning is consistency, not intensity. Many learners believe that they need to study for hours to make progress, but in reality, it's much better to practice for shorter periods every day. Even if you only have 15 minutes a day to practice, you will improve over time if you stay consistent. It's the regular small amounts of practice that add up to big results. Let it be fun. Finally, effortless learning is all about having fun. If you enjoy the process, you'll naturally want to keep learning. Find ways to make English interesting for you, whether it's through music, TV shows, games, or talking to friends. The more you enjoy learning, the less it will feel like work, and the faster you'll improve. In conclusion, effortless learning is about making English learning a part of your everyday life in a natural and enjoyable way. It's about shifting your mindset, listening and speaking regularly, focusing on real experiences, and not stressing about perfection. By following these tips, you'll be able to learn English with ease without the pressure or frustration that often comes with traditional methods. Immersing yourself in English. One of the most powerful ways to learn English effortlessly is by immersing yourself in the language. But what does immersion really mean, and how can you do it effectively? Let's dive into this concept and explore why it's such a crucial part of your English learning journey. What is immersion? Immersion is the process of surrounding yourself with a language as much as possible. When you immerse yourself in English, you're constantly exposed to it, whether through listening, reading, or speaking, until it becomes a natural part of your daily life. It's like when you were a child learning your first language. You didn't sit in a classroom memorizing grammar rules. You learned by being surrounded by people who spoke the language all around you. In language learning, immersion works the same way. The more you are exposed to English in everyday situations, the more easily you'll start to understand it, speak it, and think in it. But the key is consistency. The more often you practice and expose yourself to English, the easier it will become. How can you immerse yourself in English? Listen to English content regularly. One of the best ways to immerse yourself in English is through listening. The more you listen to the language, the more you will begin to recognize words, understand sentence structures, and develop a natural feel For how the language flows, you can listen to English content while doing other activities, which makes it easy to incorporate into your daily life. Some great options for listening include podcasts. Choose podcasts that match your level and interests. There are podcasts available for beginners, intermediate learners, and advanced learners. You can listen to stories, interviews, and discussions about various topics. Try listening to English Amazing Podcast or other similar podcasts too. Practice speaking and listening music. Listening to English music is a fun way to practice. Pay attention to the lyrics and try to understand the meaning of the words. You can even sing along to improve your pronunciation and fluency. Audiobooks. If you enjoy reading, audiobooks are a great way to combine listening and reading. Find books you're interested in and listen while following along with the text. This helps you learn new vocabulary in context and improves your comprehension. Movies and TV shows. Watching movies or TV shows in English is another excellent way to immerse yourself. You can start with subtitles in your own language and then switch to English subtitles as you improve. This helps you learn everyday vocabulary, slang, and expressions that native speakers use. Change your environment to English. To fully immerse yourself, you should make changes in your environment so that English is everywhere you look. Here are some simple ways to surround yourself with English. Change your phone settings to English. The more often you see English, the better. Change the language on your phone, social media, and computer to English. This will help you pick up new vocabulary and get used to seeing words in English. Daily label objects around your home. Another great way to learn vocabulary is by labeling things in your house. Stick small notes or labels on objects like the refrigerator door or desk and write the names of these items in English. Every time you use these items, you'll be reminded of the words. Follow English accounts on social media. Follow accounts, pages, or groups in English, whether it's an Instagram page, YouTube channel, or Twitter account. Consuming content in English is a great way to stay connected to the language. Engage in conversations with native speakers. One of the best ways to immerse yourself in English is by speaking with others who speak it fluently. Engaging in conversations helps you practice in real-life situations and builds your confidence. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. Speaking is one of the quickest ways to learn. Here are some ways to practice speaking. Language exchange partners. Find someone who is learning your native language and arrange a language exchange. You can spend half the time speaking in English and the other half in your native language. There are many apps and websites